guys, it's Heather. I am here to make a special video for Kim. She wanted to know how I made my melt and pour soaps for my oatmeal milk and honey bath bombs, the ones that look like little honeycombs. So I thought I would kind of give you guys an idea of how I do it. I did an entire other video trying to show you how to do it with white, and then realized that my white melt and pour didn't show up well enough. But what you'll do is you will take your bubble wrap, and cut around it. Or cut around your mold. Now you can use a rectangle mold, you can use a tray or a pan that you have covered in saran wrap or press and seal. That would work fine too. You just want to make sure your bubble wrap fits really nicely on top of whatever container you're using. And here is my mixture. Let me stir it just a little bit. Now this is a clear honey melt and pour soap that I have added Copper Sparks Mica and my oatmeal milk and honey fragrance oil to. And if you look, it has a nice shimmer to it. And that shimmer does show through once you're finished making your melt and pour soap, so that it actually looks like a solid honeycomb. And what you'll do first, spray your bubble wrap and your container with rubbing alcohol, 99% isopropyl alcohol. And then you will pour your soap in and kind of make sure it sort of coats the space. And then really quickly take your bubble wrap and press into the soap. Now you don't want to overfill your container, because what you're going to do is you're going to press, making sure that that soap gets all the way around each of the little bubbles in the wrap. And it does not take very long at all for this to solidify. And while that is solidifying, I'm going to check my other soaps that I made today. I've started my day at about 6:30. It's a Saturday. Let's see if these are ready to pop out. They are. These are little ducky soaps. I volunteer my time at different historical locations around Nashville, a lot of which are Civil War historical locations. So I talk about soap making during that time period. I go as far back to 22,000 BCE and talk about the beginnings of soap lore. Now what I'll do is I'll take a stamp like this one and stamp it onto the little duckies. These are color and fragrance free. I already made little bunnies. And the blue is marshmallow, the green is pearberry, the yellow is lemon. And they have little faces stamped on the bunnies. And what I do is I teach the kids about the history of soap making. And when I teach the kids about the history of soap making, when they leave, we make soap together. And I do it really thin layers of soap so they can see the process of melt and pour soap making, while I'm telling them about using sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. But then they get to bring their little soaps home. And I always want to make sure that I have soaps, not all of these are ready yet, that I have soaps for all of the kids. So if I have colored soaps or fragrance soaps, I want to make sure I have fragrance and colorant free soaps as well, so that the kids that can't have fragrances and have allergies have a soap to take home as well. And when I do the stamping, I do a very light stamping so that it's not enough colorant to actually cause a problem. And I cut them in half because that's more kid size Guess soap when you cut them in half. It's still a little soft. Now to speed this up, we could put it in the freezer. I'm going to get my paintbrush. These are my paints that I use, and I am going to do an orange for, these are micas, for the little ducky stamp. And I want to make it relatively thick because I do want the color to stand out. And I'm just painting the parts of the stamp that I want to show up. Like, I don't need the outline other than on the beak, but I do want the eyes and the little tail to show up. So that's the only parts that I paint. And then you line them up and press. I don't know if you guys can see that. I lined it up, press, and let go. Then you have your cute little ducky. And then I will just keep doing this while this is solidifying. I hope you guys don't mind. I would normally just cut the video, but because I wanted to make sure that Kelly got her video as soon as possible, I'm not really doing any editing. So I'm just basically carrying you guys along with me while I'm working until that's ready. There's that one. Each one is just a little bit different. None of them are perfect because I like to tell the kids perfect isn't always the best way. Sometimes just enjoying what you're doing means more, especially when it comes to creativity. And of course, this will wash right off. So if they have a severe allergy, I make sure that their teachers understand that you can just wash the colorant right off before you give it to them. And then you don't have to worry about any colorant at all. But a lot of the kids get sad if their friends get something and then they can't because they have an allergy. So I want to make sure everyone is included. Everyone knows that they're special, because everybody is important. It's good to be validated, even as a kid. Little ducky. Now, it doesn't take long for this to set up. It may actually be set up. So I'm going to do this last two, and then we'll see about unmolding the other one. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds that are making noises outside my window, but I can, and it's super distracting. There's that ducky. Okay, now let's see if it's ready. Oh, yes it is. Okay, so all you have to do, you guys, is peel back your bubble wrap. You can reuse your bubble wrap. Just make sure you clean it off. And then I like to take a knife and kind of run it around my edges and sort of pop under just that little bit to give something to pull, just like that. It gives us a lip to grab, and gently, and I mean really gently, because this is a thin, thin soap. You can make it thicker if you want, but thinner, I think, looks a little more honeycomby appearance-wise. Now, honeycombs are actually much thicker, but appearance-wise, this looks better. And then you have like a sheet, and you can take a shaped cookie cutter, a round cookie cutter, a square cookie cutter, or you can just chop it into pieces. So we'll do a cookie cutter first, press down, and you can have a little flower shaped honeycomb. You can cut chunks so that it just looks like chunks of honeycomb, like that. You can use, I have my little glasses I use for fragrance oil. You could cut out with a glass like that. You just have to make sure you press down hard enough to break through. Just like that. This is also a good way to make sort of a waffle cone, because you can shape the soap before it's fully solidified and turn it into a waffle cone. And you can put, of course, if you make it larger, you can put bubble scoops into it. So you have your waffle cone soap and your bubble scoop ice cream, which is super fun, by the way. It's always neat to do things like that. And then you can also cut it into smaller pieces, and then it can look like sugar or spun sugar crumbles to put on top of soaps. So there are lots of fun things that you can do with this kind of soap. So Kim, I hope that this helps a bunch. I know it's super fun to me to be able to do this for you guys. I love it when you actually specifically request things from me, because I make my videos. I pretty much video almost everything that I make at least once, sometimes multiple times. And I don't always use every video because I'm not sure if you guys are interested. So if you see a video, you have a question, ask. If you would like to see something, let me know, because I am happy to make this kind of video. Thanks, guys. This is Heather from HMP Artistry, wishing you luck, love, and a really great day. Bye.